I am not going to sugarcoat it in any capacity. I am not 100% sold on Aidan O'Connell, especially after you had a Week 17 game in which you could have won against the Indianapolis Colts and found a way to get into the playoffs. You were clinging on by a thread there. But I'm also fair, or I try to be, let me put it that way, because this was not an ideal season for Aidan O'Connell to be a NFL quarterback in any capacity, because you started out the season being the number 2 behind Jimmy Garoppolo. He went out early in the season and you were stepped in to play against the Chargers. That didn't go according to plan, and you got to give props to Aidan O'Connell. He really did the best with what he could, and Antonio Pierce, I think, is a big reason for that. But overall, there's a big question. Should the Las Vegas Raiders build around Aidan O'Connell right now? I don't know. I feel like there's a lot to like, but there's also a lot to not like. So we're going to go and kind of give both reasons as to why the Raiders need to and do not need to build around Aidan O'Connell and the whole thing. So first off, cut and dry, what was it? 62% was his quarterback completion percentage. He threw for over 2,200 passing yards, 12 touchdowns, also ran one in, had 7 interceptions. A lot of those came in key game losing scenarios, which is tough. But the last month of the season, he threw 8 touchdowns, did not throw a single pick, and the Raiders won multiple of those games against the Chargers, Chiefs, and the Broncos, finishing out 3-1 to kind of put an exclamation point on the whole thing. So fantastic job there. However, there is a lot more other things to consider. He improved greatly. So if you just look at his body of work throughout the rest of the season, like we touched on, 12 touchdowns, 7 picks and all that, not great, but specifically the last 4 games against the Chiefs, the Chargers, the Broncos, and the Colts, he did play a lot better down the line. Now, there was, at the beginning of the season, you could see him still kind of being unsure about himself, kind of unwilling to let it go, but he definitely got better in that regard as the season wore on, and you really saw him develop as a passer and really as a leader, too. That's one thing you really like to see. Another reason to keep him is a role with him is the culture is different. So we really saw what Antonio Pierce and company can do with him, and also with the rest of his teammates in a capacity where they call the shots, not Josh McDaniels. And I think that the Raiders might have something different going here. You see it in the player, the way that they play, and the player attitude, and the way that they're having fun in between plays. Like it's very contagious, and I think that the Raiders have themselves a little something here. The team rallies around him to a degree. So especially after, you saw the way that Davante Adams really stood on the table for him there, as he did also for Antonio Pierce. Mad respect on that, by the way. I really feel like they have a lot of confidence in him, in his ability to, he's not going to be Patrick Mahomes, but he puts you in a position to win. He makes some great throws from time to time, and I think if the defense continues to improve and the running game is there, the Raiders might be pretty tough. He kind of does look the part. Like, you like the way that he stands in the pocket and delivers some of those throws, and is able to kind of scan the field. That's something he got a lot better on as the season wore on, especially on the last month of the season, He really did start to look like a future franchise quarterback, and the way that he was able to decipher defenses and make the best possible throw for his team. And also, he's got a nice deep ball. I really like what I saw from him with Trey Tucker. I really feel like they're going to develop into something special, and can be really something to build on moving forward, is that deep ball potential you have with a guy like Aidan O'Connell, which we did not see with Jimmy Garoppolo or Brian Hoyer. Well, sometimes Brian Hoyer, but overall, Aidan O'Connell does have a really nice deep ball. Now, what about the reasons to not build with him? Well, if Pierce indeed does come back, there's a whole excuse of, hey, he's not my guy. We didn't, I'm a defensive guy. Yes, I was with the coaching staff that drafted him, but that doesn't necessarily mean that, he's my guy. So there's always that thing you could play at the end there, but I mean, it is what it is. Could they play that? Yes. Will they? I don't think they will. I think that they really like Aidan O'Connell, and you saw with Antonio Pierce the way that they built around him. So interceptions and key moments. We touched on it. It was against the Chargers, against the Vikings. Just multiple plays there at the end of games where it's like, man, like I know it's growing pains with a rookie quarterback, but I mean, there were multiple times where you're like, man, when are you going to learn from this? And I think he did definitely do that towards the end of games. For the last month of the season, I think he got a lot better as things wore on. Also, in key moments in key games, the offense was inert, i.e. the Colts game. I really felt like, even in the Chiefs game, the rest of the team was putting up numbers. They were able to run the ball, do all that different stuff. I mean, he only completed 42.9% of his passes for 62 yards with a lot of drops, so it's not all on him. I understand that, but against the Vikings, it wasn't great. You saw him, go up against teams like the Bears and struggled in times there late as well. So, I mean, just multiple games where you kind of do question some of his decision making. scheme and all that other stuff. This 2024 draft class for quarterbacks is deep. I'm excited about it. I think that the Raiders need to do their homework, and I think that they could, conceivably move on from Aidan O'Connell. I mean, the fact that he's only a 4th-round quarterback, I mean, there's a lot of things to, definitely decipher there. Also, decision-making. We touched on it, those interceptions thrown in key moments, but also just some of the ability to make plays on your own and really put an exclamation point on things. I don't think he was the best at that either. So I think there's a lot of different things that you have to unpack here. You have to take a look at if Aidan O'Connell is indeed going to be the guy. But again, I think he played very, very solid for the last month of the season. He didn't throw a pick. To my recollection, he might have turned the ball over. I don't remember off the top of my head, but I felt like he played a lot better. But is that enough for the Raiders to build him around him as a future franchise quarterback? I don't know. I feel like this draft class is very deep. You need to have a very serious evaluation period here. We don't even know if Antonio Pierce is going to be the guy. We just don't know. But overall, I think that there is plenty of reasons to and to not build around Aidan O'Connell. But let us know what you guys think. Make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe down below. All that wonderful stuff. But let us know what you guys think about if the Las Vegas Raiders should build around rookie quarterback Aidan O'Connell.